But anyway, Brian, what is it, if indeed you do know any more than I do, about apparently Bubba the Loves, who has in the past been friends with, of course, with Hulk Hogan, but after a series of events, they probably don't speak a lot anymore. But he was telling everybody this past week that Hogan was on his deathbed. Pray for him. The time has come. Uncle Bean is near death, and we're all going to get an orange grove in California.
The one that got my attention was, saying that Hulk Hogan was about to die. And I was like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. And then a couple other people said,
Well, actually, I mean, he's 70-something years old. So, I mean, we could hear that any day. It's not like it's, oh my God, he's in the prime of life, but still.
Every Monday he screams at me to buy his beer while a falcon or something flies by. So we didn't hear anything about that. And, as I start looking into what's going on, then I see that the source is Bubba the Love Sponge, former best friend of Hulk Hogan. They had a bit of a falling out when Bubba was taping Hulk Hogan secretly have sex with his wife. The sex wasn't secret, the taping was.
I was about to say, now you worded that in a somewhat unwieldy fashion, because he was secretly taping him publicly fucking her. Well, it wasn't actually, that's not, because it wasn't in public, it was in their, but it was public knowledge. Well, it wasn't public knowledge, it was knowledge in the house. And, but it was secretly taped. It was only supposed to be a house show. There was never supposed to be a recording of this. That's why Hogan didn't put on his best performance.
That's right. Free use fornication of some sort there. But Bubba the Love Sponge apparently went on his show this past week and said that he had a source. Let me see if there's an original article here. I have the TMZ article saying it's not happening. But
well, yes, the denials came soon after, but people were somewhat up in arms at the time, thinking he had gotten some type of tropical malaria or something and was literally hooked up to machinery.
Apparently, Bubba said, allegedly, Hogan is in the hospital, and I heard people say he may not make it. The source was pretty darn reliable, in his own words. However, Hulk Hogan's people spoke to TMZ. I have an article here. Hulk Hogan deathbed rumors bogus, brother. At hospital for neck and back issues. Hulk Hogan is not on his last legs. TMZ Sports is told the WWE legend was hospitalized to address lingering neck and back issues this week, but he is by no means on his deathbed. The speculation started when local radio guy Bubba the Love Sponge went on
Wait
air.
a minute, hold on. Is he still on the radio?
And it says local. I guess that means he's still on in Hogan's backyard. That's where that's how they became friends.
Yeah, he was in Florida originally, but I didn't think he was still on anything at this point. Hadn't he suffered like homelessness and loss of teeth and all that other stuff? Or is that somebody else I'm thinking of?
I'm not sure. He went on the air and stated he heard the wrestling icon was in bad shape to the point where his loved ones were getting called in to say their goodbyes.
Well, it wouldn't take long, and you'd only need a couple of dimes.
He said that his source was rock solid, but things could have changed since his last
Wait a minute. I thought he was pretty reliable at the start of the thing. He's gone from pretty reliable to rock solid.
Rock solid. A rep for Hogan tells us the 71-year-old isn't close to death. He's just dealing with more of the same ailments he's had for years. In fact, we're told Hogan's back to moving around again. Of course, we previously reported.
Wait, hold on. They're trying to perk people up with the fucking health update that's positive that he can move again. He turned over today. My God, it's a miracle. How is that?
I don't know. Of course.
How's that positive, brother?
TMZ previously reported Hogan underwent a neck surgery just last month in the middle of all of his negative publicity. But by all accounts, it was a big success. Hogan has had countless procedures done to try and fix what his body went through in the ring during his legendary run. But he has been able to tough it out. And, this comes on the heels of the last TMZ story about Hogan trying to buy Hooters. with his Real American beer. But apparently Hulk Hogan, not on his deathbed. He'll be around for people to boo for many years to come.
And apparently Bubba still employed somewhere. Awesome Kong slapped the shit out of him at TNA. God damn it.
Were you there?
It was like, no, that was like 3 months after I was gone. We'll get to that in a minute. 3 months after I was gone, but it was when the Hogan Bischoff regime came all over him, came in, and now both of them deny any creative control over the whole thing or whatever the fuck. But Bubba was still friends with Hogan at the time. Don't know where that was in the overall timeline of the scandal. And so they put, as I recall, they put the fat fuck on TV a couple of times and had him like do backstage report of whatever the fuck. And he had blurted out some offensive thing on his show somewhere. And Awesome Kong, who also lived down there in Florida, apparently I think she did, but she heard about it. And she just stormed up on him at a tape and started slapping the shit out of him. And I think they ended up, they either suspended her or fired her. But then, of course, the other guy wasn't back too much longer either. But yeah, they had an incident.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the fact that he's the one breaking this news and it's not even true? After everything they went through, and again, they're not friends. From everything we've heard, they're not friends at all anymore. And
well, that's probably why he did it, because he probably knew, oh man, not only will people pick up on this, but I can really get under his skin, because then he's going to have a bunch of people deny it. And he's going to have to, he's picking at an old fucking enemy. They're obviously not close friends anymore. And under the circumstances, if you were a normal human being and not a publicity seeking, guy named the Love Sponge, how many times has he been cummed on? The Love Sponge. But if you weren't a publicity seeking whore for attention, you wouldn't comment on the guy's precarious near-deathness after what has gone on previously, unless you wanted to fuck with him, or you're just gloating over it. But I think he probably wanted to fuck with him.
It's also a good way to find out who your real friends are. Like, once that rumor gets out there, who calls, who doesn't?
Well, and again, that's another thing is, again, I don't think there was a lot of, they weren't jamming the switchboard at the hospital either way, were they, for Hogan? So I think it might be a heel program at this point. Both parties, both entities are full of shit, and it's just a question of which one you are more entertained by their bullshit. But Hogan he still has some, after all of this, he still has people, oh my goddamn, it's Hogan. I hope he's not dead. Well, no, he's just stove up. He's rolling over now, so any day he'll be up and about.
He didn't sell the elbow drop. You think he's going to sell this?
But you know what could have possibly affected Hulk Hogan, Brian, and his career? I'm glad we talked about this right now. I'll just bring this up. He's had the back surgeries and the back problems, and that's what he's talked about the most, has been the most painful. He was misaligning himself all those years in two different ways. I bet you can guess one of them. The big leg drop on those hard rings back in the old days when they made them out of concrete and rebar, as Hogan has told many times. And, not only was he throwing his spine all out of whack when he was doing that leg drop in the ring, but out of the ring, Brian, you know what the problem was there, don't you?
The problem with Hogan? The lies?
The problem with his hip, his back.
Yeah, I meant that.
He was all misaligning himself because he had, back when he started making money, he had a big fat wallet stuck in his back pocket. And he was walking around with that thing, and it was misaligning him. And then he'd do the leg drop in the matches, and there's all she wrote. That's why he's had the back problems. If Hulk Hogan Instead of sticking all that money and all those business cards from the Hollywood agents back when he was a big superstar, instead of sticking that all in that old fashioned wallet and sticking it in his back pocket and throwing off his entire physical alignment forever, as any chiropractor will tell you, if he'd have been dealing with the folks over at Ridge from day one, he would now be the world's champion over 70s gymnast. That's how much difference it would have made, because he wouldn't have had all those millions and millions of dollars in cash he used to have weighing him down in the ass.
Again, I don't know if one thing necessarily correlates with the other, but I guess what we can do is say that going forward, Hulk Hogan should probably think about not carrying around a big wallet or even having Jimmy Hart carry it around, but finding a minimalist way that is effective and efficient to carry around his cards and his ID.
Well, I think it's a maximist. It's not a minimalist, but it's a maximist, because it makes the maximum out of the minimum. And you always want to make the positive out of the negative and the maximum out of the minimum, because that makes the world go round. And folks, our friends, and right now, if you go to Ridge, RIDGE.com, you can see what I'm talking about. But they have invented some handy dandy things to make it look like you're not the goddamn elephant man walking down the street with a bunch of lumps in your pockets. And that was my problem. I've had the same wallet, Brian, the old fashioned leather wallet that folds over, since about 1987. And I still have it. I never get rid of anything. But I don't need it now, because the problem is that I've graduated to a life where I don't really have to go out in public wearing pants. Allow me to explain. I could hide my big old fat leather wallet in the back pocket of my pants when I was wearing dress pants, because they're dark, they're black, they had a few bulges, and they're a little saggier to begin with. And it's got that back pocket, and if your ass is wide enough, it doesn't make the wallet look too big. But now that I just go out wearing sweatpants, or in this weather, shorts, if I put my big old fat leather wallet with everything that I've ever owned, or every card, or every scrap of paper that I've ever had for the past 25 years in the front pocket of my sweatpants or my shorts, I look like I have some kind of giant hernia or some type of growth that needs to be removed, or at least medicinally treated in some fashion. Do you have that problem?
Well, I got rid of my big
I don't mean a real growth. I mean anything that looks like that. You've told me about your growth. You don't need to go into that.
I've gotten rid of my big fat wallet years ago because it was too much for me.
I thought you got rid of the growth.
I got rid of the growth, and I decided it's time for what replaces a growth. It's time for something that won't be a big bulge. It's time for that's not really great either. It's time for an easy way. I'm not going to carry cash. I got my cards. I got my ID. Leave me alone. Ridge.
Well, no, you see, you gotta. Ridge is what they've done is they have, and also your keys. Now, here's the thing: Stacy immediately grabbed the key holder, unfortunately, before I got a chance at it. So that's why I got the wallet. But we're probably going to order some more of each of these things, because if you're tired of having a bunch of keys all jangling in your pocket like a set of loose brass knuckles, it's like carrying a pocket full of BBs. You can never get a hold of them. Or you got the big fat wallet, but it's got a bunch of unnecessary stuff, and it's laid out in such a fashion that it's terrible. It'll hurt you chiropractically. And Ridge has come up with this incredible wallet where you can just put your cards in there and they fan right out. It's got a strap that you can put your cash under that, oh my God, you could use that for some kind of industrial clamp.
Cash, you can use it for cash.
Well, no, but I'm just saying it's very tight. Your shit ain't going nowhere.
It's secure. Like, of course it is.
Boy, I'll tell you what, wrap that around your balls and that'll fucking fix you up in a hurry.
Don't do that. Let's just make sure we say don't do that.
But anyway, this thing is the size of a credit card, and about, my God, that's hardly a quarter of an inch thick. Yet again, it expands, and you could put all your cards in there, and you hold the thing, and and boom, it'll clip right in there. And it's hard, so that way your cards are not going to get bent and damaged. It's the last wallet you're ever going to have to buy also, because you can jump up and down in the street on this thing with both feet and you would not damage it. Go ahead, get one and try. Jump up and down. You'll break your leg before you'll hurt this thing. It's made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber. It's got the modern design, holds up to 12 cards plus the cash. Got a lifetime warranty, 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. And Brian, this is a new thing that's come up since the last time I got a wallet 40 years ago. But what is RFID blocking technology? What the fuck does that mean there, Cousin Brian?
RFID blocking technology. Hold on, I'm Googling
What is a
that.
digital pickpocketer? You're safe from them. I don't know. I guess they only have to use one finger. A digital pickpocket.
What it does is it uses materials and special fabrics to disrupt radio waves, preventing unauthorized access to data stored on your chip in your card or your passport or any other item.
Well, son of a bitch. Is that why these people keep coming up to me and just holding these fucking little metallic wands down around my crotch area? They're trying to read my card. But anyway, folks, does it give you peace of mind knowing that all the Ridge wallets have that technology that we just found out about that I didn't know was a thing that could be done? Well, fuck you, digital pickpocketers. Can't do that no more. Not with people carrying their goods and their cards and their fucking valuables around in a Ridge wallet. They've got over 100,000 five-star reviews. And as I said, the key fob is amazing because you clip it into the thing and you just fold them out one at a time and it folds up neatly. And if you had to, with the key thing, if you were going to just for a short stay, not for a long term, but you could probably take this key thing and keep the keys to your, a safety deposit box or a getaway car, and you could secrete it on you, and boom, if the feds close in,
again,
you could be off to feds. Guatemala or South Seas Island or somewhere.
Avoid Guatemala.
It's
at this
amazing,
time of year.
but you wouldn't be one of jangling around in your pocket. But I'll tell you what, they have got your pockets organized here. The people at Ridge have literally reached into your pockets, felt around, determined what was in there, and figured out a way to organize it all to where you don't look like you've got balls of testicles the size of fucking satchel bags. And you're never going to lose this stuff because with the Ridge AirTag attachment, you're always going to know where it is. You're not going to have the bag flips, like Kevin Sullivan calls them, a bag flip. When automatically the boys used to carry bank bags. Oh my God, where's my bag? And you'd reach for it. I do that in the car with my wallet in the console. Every 45 miles when I used to take trips, I'd be going down the road. I'd open the console to make sure my wallet was there. Stacy, bag flip. You're never going to lose this thing. You can strap it right onto yourself. You can keep it close to your heart. Folks, Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like key cases, suitcases, and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. They've got a 99-day risk-free trial. They've got free shipping. They got a lifetime warranty. And right now, you are going to get 10% off by using the code JCE at ridge.com, RIDGE.com. Using the code JCE, you're going to get 10% off. After you make your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them, and please tell them that we told you, because you're going to thank us when you don't lose your shit and you don't look like you have lumpy legs. Why, you could stick this thing. You could almost stick this thing in the gap of a young man's teeth in the front. That's how thin it is. Ridge.com, promo code JCE, 10% off. You could also fling this thing like a fighting star in martial arts, Brian, and I
don't know about
ward
that.
off attackers that way.
Well, once again, we welcome them to the show, our friends Ridge. Check them out for those of you looking for a new solution who are sick of your old wallet or just an easy way to carry your keys. Ridge is for you. One more time, Jim. What's that promo code?
Ridge.com, promo code JCE.